Welcome all of you to the circle, and I'll start obviously why do we call it the circle by Luna is because the company, this place belongs to my company called Luna, so for it it's just a physical healing space, but all of us here work for Luna, which is a women's health platform. So it's a tech-based, it's an online platform, so it doesn't really have a physical place. But before I tell you the evolution and how we opened this place, my name is Vera Wose Adeline Joyce, and I'm very happy to have you here. We were excited to hear that you guys wanted to visit the center. I know some of you have already been here before, so you know, and yeah, so it's an honor. I love everything that you're doing. I love the journey that you're on, and we're very happy to host you today. So I know that it's supposed to be like a speech and all of these things. That's boring, right? So let's be more engaging. Ask any questions that you want, and I will try to answer it as the best way that I know how. I'm a feminist activist. I'm an entrepreneur, and I'm also a space holder / healer. And so with my activism obviously focus on a lot of advocacy around sexual and reproductive health, women's empowerment, queer rights, and so much of the work that I do around that. So I started my company about 3 years ago, I think, Luna, just because when it comes to sexual and reproductive health of women, we talk about rights and all of these things, but there's lack of education around the whole scope, not just about menstruation, pregnancy, menopause, all of these things, right? So I wanted to build an online platform where women can, workers, queer women, and other vulnerable groups. And the problem was I was a tech-based platform, so it was so hard for people to like know how to use, you know, mental health services online, and some people have like crisis in time. So everybody was like, if you need to support us mentally, we need a physical space. And I'm like, I don't do physical spaces because I'm like more a tech innovation based person, but you have to listen to the people you're serving. So we implemented, I think, the project for about 6 months. And then even when it was done, it was funded by the Swedish organization Thecirclekigali. Look them up if you're in this sector. And when the funds were done, it was like, it became very chaotic for me and my team because people kept calling us and they wanted to like see therapists. And so I had a vision, and I was like, oh, we should have a safe spaces, not just for like people who are going through a lot. All of us, we should have a place where we can feel safe and go to. So that was the vision, and it was so hard, but actually being part of the Yali alumni, that year, I think, was it that year? Yeah, no, the next year I had to take a break, but also I had to go through a training by Mandela Washington, which is another part of Yali. You can also look it up. And when I was there, I was like, yo, like when I come back to Rwanda, I just have to open a center. Like I just have to. But I was so scared because, you know, you have a company you're running, it's barely running, it's barely surviving. How am I going to start a new physical space? But I got a new coach then who was like, if this is what you're truly feeling, like this is something that is speaking to you, because every single day I was thinking about the safe spaces, you know. If this is what you want to do, you should, you know, just open it up. So actually I started building this space when I was not here. So this is not my house, it's a rental house. And it was so funny because before I left, I had visited this house and I loved it. I was like, there's something about arriving here. It's just like, feels safe, it feels good, it feels all of these things, but I wasn't so sure. So when I was there, I was like, you know, like let's keep the house, and then when I come back, and I'm gonna build the space. So around October, I kind of did everything in a month, and then we launched the space. We didn't have everything that you see here. It has changed, it evolves depending on what the vision for me and the team is to create safe spaces. but we launched officially last year in October. And the idea behind the circle is, as I mentioned, it's a safe space for everyone to find themselves. Of course, the inspiration is around gender-based violence survivors, but it's now we have about 9 different safe spaces. And one is we have a cultural night that happens Monday. We have a sober circle for people who are on recovery from drugs, alcohol,
You say cultural night?
Yes.
So there is somewhere to have fun?
Yes, so culture night is that you can learn anything about, you know, Rwandan culture, Rwandan history, Rwandan songs, get to know people, the language. The idea is because we believe that culture is such a pathway to healing. Like we're all going through identity crisis, especially as young people, right? So how can we decolonize our mind, decolonize our thinking, decolonize our feelings? So that's what the culture night is for. 2 is sobriety, because, you know, clearly, not just Rwanda, but I will speak from a Rwandan perspective. We are going through like a mental health crisis, and also addiction, you know, and alcohol consumption and all of these things, especially among the youth, right? And it seems almost impossible to exist in this life right now as a sober person. And for us, the idea is not really to be like, oh, everybody must be sober in order to be well or anything, but how can we build a community where people can walk the steps to become more resilient, right? So we have that sober friendly on Tuesday. We have a men's circle on Wednesday. It's for, you know, I won't speak for the men. I don't know what they're talking about, but I imagine that they're talking about being a man and how can you be more healthy and all the hardships that comes in the society, the pressure, the expectation and everything of what a man is expected to do, to be in the society. I think even as a feminist, like men deserve much more safe spaces as well. So we have that on Wednesday. And we have my circle, a circle by the fire on Thursday, and it's also about breaking hard conversations around mental health. I integrate different tools and methods and friendship bench, so that's when like you can meet a new stranger and then that new stranger become your therapist, and then we can be able to share whatever that is going on. But it's also about authentic connections and friendships. And then so we have many of those spaces that happen there. We have a space for moms, we have a space for So whatever community you're looking for, you can always, you know, check out what are the circles here that we host, and they are hosted by different facilitators, different people. And then, so that's a big part of the work that we do. And we do a lot of outside events, we do mental health walks, we do mental health panels, talks, happiness day to like help people party, connect, and etc. So that's part of it. And the second part, I don't think we can all travel through the whole building, but please feel free at some point to, you know, navigate the place by yourself. We have 2 therapy rooms. And that means like you can book actually a session, like a professional counseling therapy session. And I won't go through so much of that. So we have quick sessions, we have professional sessions. One thing that I always want to clarify, we are not a clinic, so there's no psych ward. Yeah, it's not a psych ward. You can't meet a psychologist here. Like it's mostly what we call cognitive talk therapy, right? So. And then we have what we call a safe room, which is, as I mentioned, anyone who's under a crisis or running away or doing anything, we are able to accommodate you for the next 24 hours, but we do have to inform all the authorities. You will also get to know the safe room inside here, and then we do other things that we do here to improve community literacy. Like we have books that are always available for our community to rent and borrow and bring back. So that's it. I mean, we are, but does that make us 9 months old? Yes, 9 months old, and that's been the idea. So some of the things, depending that you guys are entrepreneurs, our value proposition, as you can imagine, is to be able to provide a community-based approach towards healing and safe spaces, right? So it makes it much more accessible, affordable, because you're not seeking a professional from a highly experienced person, but it's also an approach around preventative measures. A lot of times when we talk about mental health, people are thinking someone who's going through chronic depression, struggling with addiction, and etc. And as a collective, we always wait people to like go through those lines until when someone is willing to commit suicide. That's when we qualify, oh, this person is mentally ill. But we need to invest more in people easily being able to open up. How can we prevent people from having mental health crisis? How can we provide much more platform to change, either culturally or change as a collective people to normalize mental health conversations? One of the shocking things you hear me say in public is that all of us are mentally struggling and all of us are mentally ill. But it's the denial of it. It's like what they say, like the opposite of depression is what? Expression. If you're talking about things, you're likely not to be depressed, right? So depression is just repression of emotions over time. And this is what we're doing here. The key challenges, as you can imagine, is we are a social enterprise. We do a lot of education, safe spaces. All our spaces are donation-based. And, people don't easily feel put attach value to certain things easily, but it's a process, right? It's a process that you need to be willing to go through. So yeah, the financial hardship, a lot of people who deserve to be in therapy rooms cannot afford, because the therapy sessions are between $10 to $35. And honestly, like, not everybody has access to it. And you're not gonna do one session. Like, if you really want to work through the steps, you're gonna need like minimum 12 sessions, right? So yeah, the financial hardships, regardless of that, it takes practical skills that you have to learn to really experience it. So take your time, be willing to grow constantly, listening, changing, and my own personal tip is open doors to other people. Like, don't do everything alone. If you can find friends who can help you with certain things, build a team with the other people you meet through the program. I don't know why, but before I started my entrepreneurship journey, it just felt like an entrepreneur is one independent disruptor, but it was wrong. Like, entrepreneurship is so much easy if you have people helping you. If you do it alone, you're most likely going to go crazy. It's so much. It's too much things happening at the same time. I think she told me that maybe I can talk about how we integrate with our team well-being and mindfulness in our practice. As you can imagine, as a healing center, our key value and ethics is obviously for people to be well and feel good, and it's very key. Like, for example, we don't necessarily have working hours that are fixed. If you are sick or not feeling well, we are very flexible in a way that we operate. I think even in the way we coordinate I coordinate or engage with my team is really to find what I call in my team a taproot mission. And whatever you're doing every single day in Luna, because now all the team members, we work for Luna, not the circle. If everything you're doing every single day is not really related to your taproot mission, you're gonna fail, because you have to be excited about what you're doing. I cannot motivate you constantly because I'm trying to motivate myself. So that's the thing for our team and people who work with us, to find joy and motivation to do the work that they do. And for you to also be creative, I think when you like what you do, you become so creative, right? As a leader, like, the most expectations is always like, oh, you're managing the team, you're motivating the team. I'm not that type of a leader. Like, I'm a team player. Like, if you're not a team player, we're not gonna work together. Like, it's not possible. So it's always important for me to align with the people who like what they do, because then you're gonna inspire me as well to be like, hey, will say, I've really been thinking about what are different ways that we can engage with this. I think we need this safe space, right? If for example, I consider myself as this big leader, I'm not gonna know what the men's circle need because I would enforce my own idea. Be like, oh men should die. I'm kidding. I'm joking. But it's important for the men, the men facilitator, for example, like I'll give you an example. He really wants because all our circles are either facilitated here around the circle or around the fire, which we set up outside. And apparently when you work with men, they need much more space in order to express themselves. Either if it's screaming or fighting, I don't know what they want to do, but I have an idea that they want to fight each other, which is amazing, you know. And then it's like we need to schedule times outside. And two, now they want to do like, oh, we don't want to do during the day. We want to have a day in the weekend where we can come in much more chilled place where it's not facilitated by a counselor, because their facilitator is a hypnotherapist. And I think they're intimidated by the idea he's a hypnotherapist. So, you know, it's being able to listen to that and be like, okay, if that's what that's what you want to do and you feel like it's going to move your community, schedule that, right? If the moms come and they're like, oh, we need to be able to put a fee so we can hire a babysitter during the circle, I can't come up with that because I'm not a mom. So I imagine as the innovator and the initiator of your vision, you're going to be the leader of your company. My message is like, be open-minded, because you don't know everything and you will never know everything. It's not possible. You don't know everything about finance, you don't know everything about codes, you don't know everything about anything, even your business idea. So if you're not listening, you're going to fail. I will stop here and receive some questions, and yeah, feel free to ask. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much. Should I stand up or I can remain sitting?
Sit.
All right, thank you. So thank you very much, Tim. We understand from what she said, and the journey that she has been going through about her business with Luna, and how she came up with the circle. It really matches with what we've been talking about, listening to your customers, listening to what they want, and then really doing what they want, right? So this is not about her, but it's about what the community, the society, and the impact it would bring to them. So twese twari twakurikiye. All right, so we are going to welcome sessions, and first of all, before that, we would like to say, you know, we love what you're doing. If you are, you know, helping with mental health, it's really a thing nowadays. Now that the world is crazy, Kigali, most of any country, we're dealing with a lot in hidden places. And I love that you're dealing with men also, because they really have not had a voice for the longest time. So that's really amazing. So Tim, we can welcome questions now. Do we have anybody with a question that they would like to ask? Because eventually, when we of the projects, the same if the I've seen many projects that are into mental health. So please feel free to ask. Maybe she'll have an insight that would be very essential to your project.
Okay, thank you. My name is Abdullah Kumar, and I appreciate what you put us throughout your journey in the cycle. And I come up with a question. Of all the products or services which you are producing or like you are providing, which are the main and what are the value added?
Guys, let's follow as our friend is asking.
Yes, no, I got. So our first service, as I mentioned, is a community-based safe spaces, and that is the most popular spaces. In fact, for some reason, my circle is the most popular one, but I don't know. We have all of these other ones, so they're the most used one. And then the second one is the therapy sessions. So what we put in place, because people before were not doing therapy consistently, now we have what we call a beginner package, and it allows you to buy 2 sessions in one go, and then you pay installment, and then you can spread them out. So you begin with the therapist that you want. Everything else is like, you know, I think extra, like book services, safe spaces. Like safe spaces for now, it's so hard. Like it's currently like closed right now because we need to work directly with REEB and the police and etc. And then there's so much things we need to put in there. They want us to put a bed, they want us to put security measures, stuff like that. And then it becomes so. But the main 2 use stations, I think it's those. I think the reason why people like community safe spaces more is because it's affordable. Like you don't have to pay to be part of a support group. And you can give as you go, as much as you want. They bring their own snacks. It's a much more self-sufficient service than therapy. I think all of us, majority of you are Rwandans, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Like, because therapy is scary when we think about it, you know? Like, and then you're gonna meet a therapist and it feels heavy, right? But if you come to a place and then people are playing games and, you know, you're having fun, it's much more easy for people to.
Okay, thanks again for welcoming us into your home. And we thank you again for helping people in the communities. But I want to ask you, how do you make money to keep this circle learning?
So the main revenue is definitely therapy. Therapy are paid services regardless of what you do. 2 is I think the strategy, our revenue-based model right now is to work with businesses and organizations rather than individuals. So
it's a more to business.
Yeah, so it's like B2B revenue model, even though we have community safe spaces. So it allows, and now starting I think in about 2 months, we might have insurance on board as well. So that's gonna allow more people to seek therapy. And that also helps us, you know, subsidize the prices. But in the beginning, before, I mean, this is something that we only began about 3 months ago. So before that, you have to have like grants that help you move forward. Like your team, electricity. When you start, you always feel like, oh, it's easy, like everything is gonna work by itself, but you need a lot of money to, what do they say, to plug into the beginning of it. I wouldn't say a lot, but at least something that can push you for 6 months.
Yes, my name is Giselle Imwe. So I have a question. I want to know, in this kind of therapy, how do you reach your customers? Do you wait for the customers to feel that they need that therapy, or you show them the need to feel that they need the therapy to come to the space?
Like our approach has always been the customer comes to us, but we want to do a more strategic outreach now, to go to schools, university, and companies and start giving talks about mental health and in the communities. We haven't done that before, but it's something that in this next phase of the year we want to do. But for the last beginning has been, you know, people coming
It's
to
been more
us.
referral, like getting to know your knowledge.
Yeah, it was word of
It's more
mouth.
word of mouth. So
Yeah.
now you want to get to the market now.
Yeah.
Market yourself.
Yes.
Yes. It's nice.
I'm very great to be here and to hear that you're gonna work with. And on marketing strategies, maybe I'm the one who will work with you.
Yeah.
You can market you.
Yes.
So it'll be a partnership, eh?
Yeah.
And then you get some money after the bill comes.
Be honored. The question is, many people say that depression and mental mental disorder in our generation is a big problem. And well, I'm lucky to meet you who help them. And I would ask, it is if it is, to the extent people say it is, or in the newspapers what it is. The second thing is, you know, what do you think people can do? And what do you think is detail? You know, and you know the term say, queen of the people. What can we do to protect ourselves before need the psychologist?
It's important that only one person speaks at a time, and if a person is asking a question, even if it doesn't interest you, to always listen attentively, so I can listen as well. But it might be a question that you would also like. We only are going to share very few minutes of your lifetime. So if you can value it and stop the side talking, it's really important. But yes, I think the mental health crisis is definitely there. What I like to separate is there is mental health struggles and mental health illnesses, right? So mental health struggles is basically a lot of things that we go through, but a lot are also part of life challenges as well. But they affect the mind more than we could, imagine. Some of them can turn physical, but when we talk about, like, for example, depression, right, and say more than 50% of the random population are going through depression, the factors and the causes are so inevitable because, like, it's like employment rates among the youth, right, is very, very, very low. So with that, depression rates are also going to increase because people do not have access to financial means, right? When you talk about, like, for example, let's look at love and romantic and marriage and etc. The modern days and time of relationship is so different from any type of relationship that have existed, which means people are struggling and fighting or not able to find authentic connections, which will be also a factor in mental health struggles. You will look at the expenses and the economy, the climate change. All of these things affect what we call mental health struggles. So for me, when people say, do you think this is just exaggerating because mental health, everybody's like mental health, and I'm like, because everything is about mental health. If people are not sleeping, people are not eating, people do not have access to community, love, money, like, they're gonna struggle mentally. Like, they're not robots, That's the thing that makes us different, because we have feelings and emotions. If anyone is not struggling, there's something wrong with you. That's what I told. It's like, because I hear people who come here and they're like, me, I'm okay, I just came here, and I'm like, struggling is okay. I'm struggling. I'm here living and I'm struggling because if it's time to pay rent, I'm gonna be struggling, and it's only a normal reaction. So, and this is also how we engage the community when it comes to families, friends, and people stigmatize mental health because they think, I have such a very depressed child, and they're not able to hold space for them, but your parents struggle as well. They might have built resilience that sometimes replace, suppress, or ignore certain problems, and which is different, right? So how can the biggest thing that we need to do is normalizing normalizing mental health struggles in all of us. Like, for example, the reason why we have the men's mental health, right? When you look at the numbers about men's mental health, which was also June's mental health, we were doing a lot of advocacy and work around that, is people think that women are more emotional because we are more expressive. Yeah. But because men are less expressive, they're struggling more than women. Even though you can look at issues and things that happen to women, including violence, harassment, assault, like, all of these things are causing them to break down. But the men, because they don't talk about it, like, hey bro, how are you, how is this, like, it's all good, because there's less expression, which is going to lead to higher number of depression, which is why also men commit more suicide, because they're not talking about it, They just be like, I'm done, I'm out of here, and I'm stepping I'm going to town and jump off the building, and everybody is like, what? So
how they get into alcohol.
Yeah, or alcohol consumption. So all of these things is things we do to suppress emotions because we want to talk about it. So I think that's one of the things that I encourage people. If you don't want to end up in therapy, spending millions in the room, learn how to talk. If you have an issue with your mom, your dad, your kids, your partner, talk to them. If you have something, you know, this thing has happened to me when I was younger, this thing, find a ways to express those things. People fear that, but it's the only good thing you can do to your mind. Because your mind, once you suppress it, it's like even if something is so small, it grows it into such a big scenario. Now, what are the mental health illnesses and the big issues I personally see since I started the circle? Because we're not a clinic, someone might have any psychosis, right? If it's bipolar or they have PTSD, and then all of these are real huge problems. When I was doing my counseling training, this person, our trainer was like, oh, like we admitted, I think he said like 15 psychopaths, you know, in their hospital. And then one of the girls who were learning with us, they were like, we have psychopaths in Rwanda? And I'm like, who do you think Rwandans are? Like, because also it's so weird because it's like a denial. It's like if you look at the history in this country, there is no way you can tell me we don't have psychopaths. It's like a mental illness, right? That there's nothing so special about Rwandans that would omit them from having this type of things. There's nothing about being Rwandan that can omit a person from having bipolar or schizophrenia. When we grew up, we saw what we call abasazi mumuhanda. It was just mental health illness, right? But then we would be like, this person, you know. But if only we knew that this person just needs proper care, proper medication, and then they're good, you know. But nobody talked about it. And that comes to the stigma as well. If someone tells you that they're on medication, or that ever, for God's sake, they have gone to Indera, everybody is like, oh my goodness, like this person, there's something wrong with that. But I think it's also, again, this is why I love education, is because it talks about us as Rwandans, we don't even know the basics on how the brain works. The brain is a very, very, very fragile thing. Very fragile. Like you could have a job, you're a doctor, and then you experience, I don't know, you're an OBGYN and a mother dies on you when you're all of that. And then the brain switches and you have PTSD and you can't sleep. You are fighting people, like all of these things, right, happens. But it's like when it comes to disorders or all of these things, some people, the chemistry of how it is constantly changing, right? If you look at someone who's bipolar or autistic, it's just all about that this person is so different from all of us. And we think what we call normal, like just because someone is able to pretend 24/7 to act normal, a lot of people are not actually normal the way we think about it. A lot of people are scared of, I don't know, someone is absolutely obsessive in a way that you cannot see it, right? And they have severe obsession. And maybe when someone falls in love with this person, they're like, I think you have an obsessive issue, right? I think it's about education. But what I can say when it comes to numbers, when it comes to illness actually in Rwanda, my biggest worry is there are so many undiagnosed, untreated people within our community every single day that your parents, your neighbors, your cousins, your landlords, that nobody knows what the diagnosis is. And these people, because they don't have diagnosis, they're untreated. So when someone reacts or does something, people just think like there's something wrong with this person or what's happened. It's all about pads, gynos, tampons, abortion pills, things like that.
The product is Luna.
No. So we are a marketplace for women. So we are, it's an e-commerce platform.
I get you now.
So we have a display there because once you make an order, it's like you have to know like exactly, especially to market ourselves at the center, so people know that you could also use our platform to buy, and we deliver anywhere in Kigali to anyone who wants, like morning after pills, anything, condoms, all of these things.
Guys, condoms are available, so please order here.
Don't leave without a condom, guys.
Don't leave without a condom. know Tico is paying for them, so.
Tico,
Good to see you.
all of that.
You've been eating very well, so please, let's have some condoms,
So for both Luna actually for me to start, I think some of you know, I won the Thecirclekigali competition, and you have to get $10,000 in order to bootstrap your business. So with the circle, it was very different because I had to use my own money to start, and then
How much is it?
ooh,
That's little, right?
my goodness. Let me tell you, I think that when I started the space, I wanted to use 5 million Rwandan francs in order to like rent the space and buy the different furnitures, and I didn't really think it through. Beside the vision, and I don't know what I was thinking, but in my head, the math was working because I was like, I just need the space, buy furnitures, and then I could see from day one, again, that's the lulu of being an entrepreneur, because you're like, then people are gonna come and pay me. And
So you set the space and then let them come.
yeah, so then I had to apply for a grant after that. So for, again, 10,000, I'm like stuck on 10,000 though. I need better money, but and then for now we're entering into a phase where we are able to sustain ourselves with revenues coming in different ways, but we haven't really hit the all returns and everything, but it's much more promising trajectory if we have much better strategic plan and marketing, and then we stay consistent with customer acquisition. I think we can be able to be sustainable and also grow as a team.
Okay. Do you have any questions?
Stella?